On a new show on WABC Radio in New York, they are exploring the left-right divide and major issues afflicting New York City and beyond. One of the co-hosts is former New York Congressman Anthony Weiner. He spent 18 months in confinement for sexting with a 15-year-old girl. He was released in 2019. He says he's ready to answer tough questions about his own life, the challenges facing the country. He's joining now our friend Curtis Sliwa with a new show, their co-host, The Left versus the Right. Anthony Weiner, thank you for being with us. Curtis Sliwa, always good to see you, my friend. I guess the first question that I have is, you pled guilty, Anthony, to sending obscene materials to a young girl, a 15-year-old girl. You pled guilty, you served jail time. Have you changed? Are you a different person?
Well, I think so. I don't think anyone can go through that kind of experience, and I think this is probably true of people who have been through other types of adversity. I don't think you go through that type of experience and don't emerge changed.
Well, wait, but Anthony, wait a minute.
So I think it's fairly
Anthony,
obvious.
That's an obscure answer. I think so. Either you know in your heart if you changed, or you know in your heart if you didn't change. Can you assure people, because you're going to now try and draw in an audience, and they're going to want to know if you changed or not. Have you changed?
They can judge for themselves.
I'm sorry?
I said they can judge for themselves. I'm not out to persuade you or anyone else that I've changed. I mean, I'm doing a radio show, and people can call in and ask me questions. We did one this past Saturday where people had an opportunity to call in, and where Curtis asked me a bunch of questions, and I answered the best I can. But in terms of, like, I'm trying to draw someone in, no, I'm not trying to make someone like me or someone be persuaded of any particular outlook on me. We're going to have some conversations about things going on in New York City and other places, and hopefully people will tune into the show, but I'm not terribly interested in trying to make them feel any differently about me.
Curtis, I would say between the two of us, we have anywhere between 60 and 70 years of talk radio experience under our belt, and we've been friends for a long time. One of the things about talk radio is it's a heart medium. In other words, you have to connect with somebody on a visceral level because they can't see you. And I'm listening to Anthony's answer. It doesn't sound that convincing to me. I would think that if it was me, I would want to convince people that I am a different person, that I changed, that I learned my lesson, that I'm moving forward in a different direction in my life. How did you feel about the answers you got?
Well, I actually did 2 weeks of programming with Anthony before his life just imploded. He's a good talk show host. He reveals much of his feelings. I feel he's on solid ground. Our owner-operator, John Katzimatidis, who, as you know, saved WABC from the scrap heap. There would never have, again, have been WABC if he hadn't rescued it. Believes in giving people a second chance. Bill O'Reilly. I can run through a whole list of people who are my colleagues at WABC who he's given a second chance. He believes in that. And let's face it, we need to give people a second chance. We saw that in the Trump administration when he cut the jail time of so many people that we didn't realize were being incarcerated 20, 30, 40 years. So I think all of us, Democrats and Republicans, we have come to a conclusion that if you've done your time, if you paid the price for what you did, it's time to come back into the fold. And I must tell you, if Anthony Weiner had not had his personal problems, we wouldn't have had Bill de Blasio for 8 years, who single-handedly destroyed our city. Anthony would have been the mayor, and I'm telling you, Sean,
Curtis,
you know me, he would have done a much better job.
And we've been friends for a long time. I would just recommend, in the sense that if it was something this serious, that there's got to be a let me fall on the sword, admit and tell people what's different about me at this point. You know, I would think going to jail is different. And this is what I learned. This is the help that I got. This is how I'm,
Sean,
I'm staying on the straight now.
If you want, you can tune into the show, and you can hear if that is the way.
You're
but if
on
you
my
say,
show now,
you say
Anthony.
to
I'm
someone,
giving you the chance now to do it.
I know, but you invited. I know you invited me to come on, and then you say, did you change? Yes, and I answered the question. I said, I believe that I did. I believe this kind of experience would change any person. And now you're having a conversation with Curtis, with me sitting here about my answer. All I can do is give you the answer, brother.
Well, that's your answer. I would have expected a little bit more sincerity, a little more heartfelt, a little more repentant. The word from Latin means to change one's heart. And I agree with Curtis. I believe in. I'm not the guy that calls for canceling.
But it's not something.
What?
I know, but I appreciate you having me on the show. I mean, it's fun, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm grateful to Curtis. He and I have a good show. You know, I've always in my political life been more concerned about things on Brighton Beach Avenue than Brighton, England. We're going to talk about New York City issues. But, you know, I'm of the belief that the way you demonstrate that you've changed is for other people to perceive it, is for other people to see that you're dealing with things.
Well, the last words would be,
I don't believe
after you tell
shout
that
from the mountain.
story.
Here, let me just.
The last words would be.
Let me just finish my thought.
Time will prove me right or wrong if I'm being heartfelt with you.
Well, you know, perhaps you should help do prep for the Hannity show for your guests. I'm just giving you the answer as best I can, buddy.
Okay. And Curtis, you're working a lot. Curtis never stops working. If he's not on the air, he's in the subways. He just never stops. Curtis, you're happy with, how's the audience responding? I have 10 seconds, literally.
Oh, great. And listen in, Sean. You listen to talk radio, and then you give me your opinion, because we have 2 full hours. And I'll get deep into the mindset of Anthony Weiner as he is now.
Right.
I promise you that, Sean.
I'll listen. Curtis, we've been friends a long time. Anthony, I hope you've changed, and Godspeed.
Some sad news tonight. Another New York City police officer has taken his life. The second NYPD suicide in 2 days. The police commissioner has declared a mental health crisis in his department.
What the hell's going on here?
So far this year, there have been 9 NYPD suicides.
We are learning more tonight about just what may be in the tens of thousands of emails discovered on the computer shared by Uma Abedin and her husband, disgraced former Congressman Anthony Weiner. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Harridge has the latest on that part of the story.
FBI forensic experts have developed a program with key search terms, and the process of sifting through the records on Anthony Weiner's computer has begun. Late Sunday, the FBI got a warrant, allowing investigators to read the content to determine if the emails are new or duplicates of records provided to the State Department. An intelligence source said the preliminary search turned up hits for State Department records as well as emails from the Clinton server. While President Obama's spokesman seemed to chastise FBI Director James Comey's decision to notify Congress, Josh Earnest insisted the White House is neutral.
I'll neither defend nor criticize what Director Comey has decided to communicate to the public about this investigation.
A source close to Weiner's legal team tells Fox's Brent Baer that it seems his laptop was used to back up his estranged wife's smartphone contacts, and in the process backed up all of Huma Abedin's emails. Fox is told the records appear to cover the time period when Huma Abedin was at the State Department with then Secretary Hillary Clinton. Writing in the Washington Post, former Attorney General Eric Holder said Comey breached a long-standing principle that investigations should not be announced or publicly discussed 60 days before an election. A senior Democrat went further.
You don't want to appear to be putting your hand on the scale. And here he opens up the FBI to the accusation that is trying to have an impact on the outcome.
A former Attorney General under President Bush was also uncomfortable.
You don't comment on investigations because commenting on the investigation may jeopardize the investigation, and that's the box that he's put himself in.
But on special report, the Republican chairman of the House Benghazi Committee, whose investigators uncovered Clinton's use of private email, said Comey is unfairly targeted.
Jim Comey's not responsible for a single one of the facts at hand. He didn't tell her to use a private server. He didn't tell Uma not to turn over all of her devices. And God knows he didn't tell Anthony Weiner to send sexually explicit texts to allegedly underage people.
And late today, the Republican chairman of the House Intelligence Committee sent this letter to Director Comey with questions about the new emails. And buried in the text are new allegations from a whistleblower that Clinton mishandled classified information overseas. The congressman writes, I also understand that former Secretary Clinton left classified documents in her hotel room in China, and that U.S. Marine Corps security officials filed a report related to the possible compromise of the documents. We are reaching out to the Clinton campaign for comment, Brett.
I think he has sex addiction. I was scared. I felt bad for talking to him. Felt a little guilty. He said maybe we should stop talking, but he never stopped talking to me. Later on, it didn't really faze him. After I told my teacher about the relationship, he wanted me to email my dad and my teacher and tell them that what I said was false, and I made 2 fake email accounts and emailed both of them and forwarded them to him, making him think that I actually did the recount. He continued to text me and talk to me every day. He started messaging me about his wife and saying that he was keeping up with his wife through me. He didn't know where his wife was, and they wouldn't contact through the day as she was on the road with Hillary Clinton. We would Skype. He would tell me that he was very lonely, and it had been a year since he and his wife had sex, and that she really didn't pay him any attention. They were just kind of together for Jordan. His son came into the room one night, and he shut off the Skype call. He told me that when he was in high school, he didn't have a lot of female attention, and I think he just lacked some sort of sexual fulfillment. Well, after seeing what he did with his son, having him in the picture that was released, I think that he's very disgusting, and he needs help.